Many Northwell accounts are given a PDF of their monthly newsletter or maybe an event and are asked to turn it into an email campaign. So this screencast will cover how to take your PDF and take the best parts of it and put it into an email campaign while adhering to the best practices for email. So these 4 points are what I'm going to cover in the screencast. I'm going to use a real example to show you how to do it. The first one is important. Keep the length of the email as short as possible, and we'll do that by using teaser copy instead of the full article content, and then we'll link to that to the actual PDF so they can continue reading the full content. And we're going to try not to use too many images because including less images allows the email to display more quickly. We're also going to, for number 2, adhere to the email campaign branding guidelines by not changing the default font family, which is Arial, the font size, font color, and background colors. So this means your flyer may be beautiful and you want your email to look as closely to it as you possibly can, but really we need to make the email campaign stay branded for the online environment and how that template is already been branded. So your font family may be different from the flyer to the email, and that's okay. For number 3, we need to choose the appropriate footer. We have an internal footer and we have an external footer. So this just basically means if you're sending your newsletter, your email, within the Northwell Health System to its employees and staff, you can use the internal version. But if this newsletter or email campaign is going outside of the health system to people at whether they're Gmail addresses or other health systems, we need to use the external footer. So I'll be showing you which is which. And then lastly, if your division or hospital has its own Northwell Health logo, and the example I'm going to be using is Long Island Jewish Forest Hills, so I'll be using their logo in my email campaign, so I'll show you how to swap that in if that's applicable to you. So I'm going to go over to the email platform. Or no, what I'm going to show you first is the actual example. So I have this PDF from the Department of Safety, Security, and Emergency Management for Forest Hills. And this is a monthly PDF, monthly newsletter. And we need to turn this into an email campaign. So to do that, I'm going to show you a couple options. In this layout, I've taken each section and I've turned it into its own section within the email campaign. So my first objective was to take teaser copies and link them to my PDF, which I've done here. So I have the safety tip, the security tip, this featured article content on the active shooter preparedness, staff corner, and then just a little summary at the bottom with a call to action to just read the whole newsletter. And then the other option I was thinking, if I was given this newsletter, I was really short on time, I needed just to throw something together. You could do something much more straightforward with just the same sort of header, kind of like a table of contents with just a link to read the whole newsletter. So I'm going to back up and show you how I dissected this, especially to do this version where I've used icons, I've grabbed his photo from the PDF, and how I've customized the header here. So I've started already. I've created a new campaign from the simple template. So first I'm going to swap out my logo. In images, I've already imported my logo here. And since I can do that, I can just click and drag and drop it. And it's going to update that for me. If you do not have your logo handy as an image file, you need to go to your brand center and get that logo. If I go over to my PDF, I have a few things here on the top that I need to include in my email somehow, to let people know who it's from, and so they immediately know that it's this department's newsletter that they may be used to getting, in this format. And so I have the department name, the name of the actual newsletter, their tagline, and then the issue. So here I'm going to put the Forest Hills Lifeline, followed by the issue. And then under My Building Blocks, this is where you want to work. Northwell template folder. I'm going to grab this section divider and put the full name of that department. And then I'm going to pop in their tagline, "Don't learn safety by accident." I'm going to select this and copy it, and then paste it here. Okay. I'll hit save just to save my work. Okay. All right, so from now I can get to the meat of my newsletter and decide what sections I want to include. So first I saw these safety tips. I like tips. I think they're good for email. They're quick and easy to read. So besides the tips, I do have this security update, an influenza update. There's a staff corner on a new security officer, construction updates and advisories. And then this seems to me to be the most featured or important article or content of the newsletter. And there. So, you have many options the way you can break this down, flow in your content. Let's see, this is how I chose to do the tips. So I did that by going to my 2-column folder, and I want to look for the one that says icon with header, some placeholder icons, and then you can switch them out by going to images. All right, back up a little bit. Icons. I believe I had an orange icon. I'm going to find my light bulb. Just going to drag that and drop it over just like we did with the logo. And then for the other one, I think I used a purple icon of people. This one, same thing. And I'm just really going to replace this text with a safety tip. Portable oxygen. And this one was monthly security tip. Patient property. Okay. So part of my objectives was to take parts of my content as teasers and link them to the full content. So how I did that here was I didn't want to put the answers to these. I like how I pose questions. So I would grab this. I'm going to select this all. I like to do Control-Shift-V for pasting. Adding Shift to Control-V will actually strip my content of its formatting. So I don't really want to copy over the bold here. I don't really want to copy anything but just the text. So to do that, I can do Control-Shift-V. I can also come up here to this clipboard icon and do Control-V. Paste it in here first, hit Insert, and there it is. And then I also like this question too. Copy it. This time I'm going to do Control-Shift-V. Looks the same as the first time. And then I'm going to say, read more is fine. You can say, click here to find the answers, whatever you want. So here, to do that, I need to go up here to my link button. And I need to come down all the way to the bottom to link to a document. So right now, your PDF isn't hosted anywhere. It needs to live online. Some of you may be fortunate enough that your web team does host your PDFs and your content someplace that you can grab and link to. But in this case, it doesn't live anywhere. It's just a file. And I need to host that file online someplace. And you can do that in OpenMoves. So to do that, it's already here because I was playing with it. But to show you how I did that, I'm going to come to the Document Manager. I'm going to choose your file. Hit Open. Hit Upload. And now I've got 2 of them. So I'm just going to X out of this. And then choose one or the other. They're actually the same file. And hit Insert. I want to make sure this is bold to be on brand, the way it looks over here. And now, when I click on that, it'll link directly to the PDF. So if I preview this, save anyway. And I click this, it's going to go right to the newsletter. And PDFs are great because they pop open in your browser. They don't require the user to download any program or have Microsoft Office already installed. So it's a really quick and easy user experience there. And then I would do the same thing with this side. So in the interest of time, I'll just keep moving along to the next section. Let's see. So how I did it. Next, I went to my active shooter preparedness. And honestly, while I was preparing for the screencast, I had the content and I was playing around with it. I had it in different sections. I had it in different types of building blocks, and then I didn't like it and I wanted to feature different things. So there is a process to this, and then you have to kind of lay your content out and get a feel for it, and don't be stressed out about changing things or redoing something to make it better. It's just you have great flexibility here with these building blocks, and you can do lots of different things. So remain flexible and feel free to play with it a little bit. So to do that block with where I had the title and then I had content and a button, it's a 1-column block where I had header, paragraph, button. I'm going to move that over here. There we go. So this is what the default text looks like. If I come back over to my article, I'm going to use that title as the title of my email. All right. And then I have this text at the top. I think it's good as a summary text of what this section is about. So same thing, I'll just select it all. I'm going to do Control-Shift-V. To clean it up a little bit. Don't be alarmed when you are copying text from a PDF. Sometimes you will see these weird line breaks, and that's because the PDF, the way text is arranged in a PDF is different than the email or on the website, where a PDF is static. The text is where it is, and there might be line breaks just to make it visually fit the PDF better. But when we're in email or when we're online, where the width of the screen is going to change depending on where you're looking at it, we need that text to be flexible. We need to move and stay with the paragraph. If the screen size shrinks, for example, so you might have to change around some of the spacing. Say this was italicized, so I'll keep that italicized. You can even add a line space if you wanted to break that up. So I think in my example, I went through and I actually included some things about what this article is about. So just so I don't have to retype, I'll copy over some of the stuff. But to do a bolded list, I would come down here and say this article includes. Now I want to remove my italics from this, so I will click that. All right, and then my first line I've copied. I'm going to paste Control-Shift-V again, and to make turn into a bullet point, I'm going to highlight it. Click my bolded list, and then just keep going by hitting Enter at the end, just like you would in Word. And then come back over. Grab the next one, Control-Shift-V, and the last one, copy, and Control-Shift-V. Okay, and then again, I just want to link this to the PDF. So read about active shooter preparedness. Highlight the text, come up here. Since you've already imported your file, it's still here. Just hit insert. If it does insert and underline, I just want to make sure that you don't need that, if that is not on brand. So basically, however you pull over your default block from the left over here, you want to make sure things stay the same. So your content, the text can change, but you want the header to still look 18 Arial, this color gray, and bold. And you want the button to be white and bold, and that sort of thing. Sorry, and then go back to here. So I then thought that the staff corner featuring this new security officer would be a nice part of the email too. Images work well in email as long as they're not overpowering and there's not too many of them. Pictures of people's faces do work well in marketing collateral, whether it be a catalog or an email. People like seeing people's faces as long as they're not gigantic. So the PDF lent itself pretty well for this purpose. Now, most of you, when you have a PC, you have some image tools already built in. So I'm working on a laptop. I have Windows 7, so I have a snipping tool, and that's a way I can take some screenshots. I can also do a full print screen, but this will actually work better for what I need. So I'm going to do a snipping tool, and I want to just try to make it even around his face just to make it easier for my editing later. You can save this just in case. But I think I have everything. Oops. Sorry, folks. I moved my files. I have to find them. There we go. Okay, sorry. So I will put Brian here. Okay, so now I'm going to go into accessories. You know, it might be faster just to do all programs, accessories, and there's your paint. So you want to open up your paint program. Okay, so I'm going to paste in, and there he is. Okay, so the block I used for him was this last one, small image. So every time you pull over a block and it has an image placeholder in it, it comes with these dimensions. And these dimensions should be adhered to exactly as much as you possibly can. So I need an image that's 209 by 209. So a square 209 pixel image. Go back to Paint. You can go to Resize. Select Pixels. And I need this to be 209. I have a feeling it's going to distort my, hold on. Yeah. I'm going to do, okay. Let's resize my background first before I do anything. Okay, 209 by 209. It's already that way. That's good. And then I can paste in my picture. If I needed to delete some of that text that's showing up, I can just do this. Okay, and now we have a 209 by 209. I can do save. I'm gonna save it as a ping. That's fine. Okay, and I'll save Brian. Fine. All right, come back to my campaign here. Go to Images. I have a folder I was working in from this campaign. Here it is. Okay, this is the one I just created. Brian Final. Drag it over and replace it. So staff corner, Brian Atkinson, security officer. And for him, I chose just to do the first sentence or two about him, and then I linked again to the PDF. I did the same way that I linked the content up here. So without wasting too much time on editing the content, I'll just do the link. Okay, and if I wanted to change that text, I could say, learn more about Brian. All right. Oh, make sure it's bold. Great. Okay, and then lastly was just this, you know, a few other things that are in the newsletter that are important. I'm not going to need this. I can delete it and come back to header and a button. That's what it was. So I just said, you know, read the March 2018 newsletter for, you know, more updates. And then I just linked a call to action here to just set a link to read the newsletter. And there we go. All right. And that's it. So another option I had mentioned was to do this table of contents. And really all I had to do was I created the top how I did before, and then I just used the same block that I actually used to create this to do the in the issue, and I just kind of made up my own bullet points. So I had March 2018 in this issue. Monthly tips, example, etc., etc. And then you would change the text there and link it to your PDF. So that is this is basically how you do the PDF to email. It's not so much about changing the appearance of this email as far as the text and the colors go. It's really just about bringing over the content in a very clear way that's easy to read an email. Another example of a flyer that is common within Northwell is this formatting, where we have a beautiful, oh, this already is an email. See, I have a PDF of this, but basically you have a beautiful image followed by the constellations that overlap your image, and then some text. And it's very tempting just to do a screenshot of your PDF and insert it as an image into your campaign. The problem with that, if I do the 1C image, my specs here are 629 by 270. And you can see that this image is much wider than it is long. And if I go to this image, this whole thing is an image. This is a very long image because it's a PDF. So really, best practices would be take this image, slice it up, so that you don't really need to repeat the constellations in the body of your email, because there's a placeholder for constellations here. So if I go to images, of course I don't have them uploaded to this account, but I'll do that right now. I have an orange and purple one right here. And so I can take that and replace that. And then to do this image right here, I probably would just take the snipping tool again. Come here and go to New. I need to resize it to 629 by 270. Oh, here we go. Pixels. Sorry, folks. Paste. It looks like my image is a little smaller than the space because of the constellations, which might happen to you. So don't like that. It's more actually important that the width is the same. But to be on brand, you really should have an image that is 629 by 270, exactly like it says. If you need to go back to your design team and get the original file so you can make it the right size, then that's what you should do. But you can manipulate this to get it to be the right size. And then I would slide it in to your... No, we're not going to change this. Okay. Into your email campaign, into this space. And then you have this text all about your event. It's beautiful, it's colored, it's engaging, but the email really is much more straightforward. So for this, again, I would probably choose, I would just do a header and paragraph probably for that. I didn't see a link. It's always a good idea to include a link when you can, but if you can't, you can just bring over a header and a paragraph and use the header to put some of the bigger, you know, Peconic Bay Medical Center blood drive and put that in your header, maybe along with this, and then you would actually have to type. Bring this text over and put it into your email. I mean, you could, in a sense, just say, or you could bring over this header button one again and just say, Peconic Bay Medical Center blood drive, the date, time, location, whatever makes the most sense, and just say read more, and click over and do the same process. Upload that PDF and link to it, and you wouldn't have to include the information. Although, this PDF, to convert the whole thing to an email, in my opinion, wouldn't be that long. That's not so bad. So there you go. So that really covers that conversion process. For the most part, in most scenarios that you might encounter. Just to wrap it up, the footer option here. So this is the external footer. If I go back to my building blocks, footers, there are two versions here, and I'll drag over this one so you can see the difference. I have the internal version here. You can see that it says I should not unsubscribe, whereas this one hasn't unsubscribed, and that's really the major difference here. And so if you're mailing internally with a Northwell, use the top one, and if it's going to people outside the health system, use the bottom one. Go back to my best practices sheet. I think we covered everything. We're going to use teaser copy. We're going to link to the PDF. We're not going to bog it down with too many images. We didn't change any of the font or the coloring. We chose our appropriate footer, and if applicable, we used our hospital logo. So that is it.